So nobody knows what's going to happen in crypto. The markets do whatever the hell they want. And this cycle is definitely different because Bitcoin has ran without any kind of capitulation wick. So what I'm going to be talking about today is a theory that I've got that potentially could happen going into the end of this year. You look at the crypto bubbles, this is the top 100 on the week. You can see that everything's up. You look at the top 100 on the month, you can see that everybody's up. And you look at the top 100 on the year, you can see that everybody's up. What that means, guys, that anybody that's bought crypto during any point of the cycle that is still holding it now is in profit. Bitcoin's hitting the 100,000. It's getting over exhausted. And one thing that we can see is we haven't had any kind of pullback. What goes up must come down. What goes up needs to come down. So would an end of year sell-off be realistic? It's a possibility, guys, and I'm going to show you in this video exactly the reason why I think that potentially December could be a bad month for crypto. So I don't want to bring any doom and gloom to the crypto bull run party, but understanding the market cycles, understanding the psychology behind the cycles, what drives the markets, which is news, events, and that's macro, guys. So there's some things in the world at the moment that could affect the markets. And one thing that hasn't happened this cycle, we haven't had a capitulation before the new bull run. During the previous Bitcoin halvings, we had some kind of a capitulation. And what a capitulation does is it pulls the market down, it pulls the market down, it creates indecision before you can reset the market, reset the leverage, wipe out all the weak hands, and let the next bull run begin. Hasn't happened, guys. Hasn't happened. Bitcoin ran from the 1st of January 2023, and it hasn't stopped since. It's just been raging. It's been raging. But along the way, guys, what you get, and this is the weekly chart, this is the higher time frame, is you get your pullbacks, you get your pullbacks, you get your pullbacks, you get your pullbacks. So you have to understand and identify that we are going to get a pullback on Bitcoin. And that brings us into the end of year sell-off and why I think that December potentially could be a bad year for crypto, with people cashing in, realizing their profits, understanding by doing that, the price is going to go down. And in January, when they open their positions back up, then it's going to be a better position than what they had last year. They've realized the gains for the end of the year, for the end of the tax year, going into the new year, fresh, more capital that they've cashed in from the previous one, and understanding that they're going to get prices cheaper. So that's just one thing that I'm thinking, guys. And the reason why I'm thinking that is we're in November now. December's only 6 weeks away. And then we've got Bitcoin, which is just rampant. It's hit 100,000 level. And there's a couple of things that could happen here. We could get a slow grind down or a bit of indecision and create a bit of a flag. What would happen whilst we're creating that flag is the Bitcoin dominance would be going down. As the Bitcoin dominance goes down, that means that altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. So as this happens during the course of a few weeks, before you get to the end of the year, the altcoins would be pumping. So the altcoins were pumping here, altcoins would be pumping here. So this is just hypothetical, guys. This is one scenario that I'm thinking that potentially could play out, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why. So that's one thing that could happen. The next thing could happen could just be a crash down to the downside, the capitulation that was talking about that happened in the previous cycles to happen now. Now, what could happen, or what could cause that capitulation event? What causes any capitulation event is indecision. So you had the previous one where you had, dare I say it, you had the pandemic. So when you had that, it caused the crash, caused the pandemic crash. That was March 2020. That was the reset in the market. And then you get the confirmation that things aren't going to be as bad as what the people had expected. So you get the buy up. You had the same as well, guys. And that's why they say, buy the invasion, sell the war. It's because the invasion causes indecision. That crashes the market. Then something happens where there's a de-escalation or there's something that's going to make things right, which causes a buy up. During that capitulation to the downside, that's where people are panic selling. People are panic selling because they don't understand what's going to happen next. The world's going to end. The world's going to end. What's going to happen next? So people sell, people sell, people sell. It capitulates. You get a big, massive buy up. When you get the big buy up, that creates more gains. But ultimately, it gives people with the big money, the smart money, the chance to get in at cheaper prices. So that's the thoughts behind my mind, guys. We haven't had a capitulation event yet. Things are different this year. You've got ETFs. You've got smart money coming into the market. And that brings into the next thesis that when you've got smart money into the market, they've got a big accumulation of something. that smart money can move the market a hell of a lot more than what retail can. So if the smart money decided that the inflows just turn to outflows on the ETFs, which could happen, guys, it could turn outflows, they might want to realize their end of year profits on the ETFs, create that big surge of sell power. They've got over 1 million Bitcoin, BlackRock. What would that look like if they sold 1 million? I'm not going to say that they're going to sell 1 million, but they could create a big sell-off at the end of the year, which would create cheaper prices for them going into next year. So that's something really that I'm thinking of. You see, in all these things that are happening now, can Bitcoin eventually become replace the US dollar as a reserve currency? You've got all these things that are going on. It's saying central banks are secretly buying Bitcoin. And then you've got the market that's doing this. So like I say, anybody that's bought crypto at any point in the year has probably got positive P&L. So the market's not healthy at the moment. If we had some kind of a pullback and you used that pullback wisely, by scaling certain profits out, it doesn't have to be all your positions, and there's not financial advice, it's just a risk management technique. 5%, 5%, 5%. If you think it's going to go to the moon, you need to have capital in there for it to go to the moon. It's probably not going to go to the moon, but you need to have some kind of a capital. So scale out a little bit, scale out a little bit, scale out a little bit. If it crashed 50%, that 5% and 5% and 5% could do so much more when it's 50% cheaper. So you can see the market's overheated. We can see that Bitcoin's overheated. Could we get that end of year sell-off? Because when I look at this, guys, this is the other metric that I'm looking at, which is the fear and greed index. You can see that we're at 80 at the moment today. Yesterday, we were at 93. The day before, we were at 90. Now, what I want to do is go down to this chart here. This is the fear and greed index over time chart. So this starts here, 2018. Starts 2018. It hasn't got all the chart here. It's only got the data going back to 2018. Now, what I want to show you is every time that we're in extreme greed, what happens? So we're in extreme greed here. We've been there for some time. Now I want you to look at here, extreme greed. This is March 2024. Remember we had the relief rally, the relief bear market rally in March 2024, where the markets rallied and people thought that was going to be the start of the bull run. We entered extreme greed and then we pulled back significantly all the way down to 43. So more significantly, what happened at the previous bull cycles? You've got this up here, guys. This is November 2020. This went all the way into January 2021, had the pullback, then you had the confirmation of the new bull run. Then in February 2021, we had a pullback, we had a pullback, we had a pullback. We went all the way down in May 2021, after the May crash, into extreme fear. So each time that it hits this level, guys, each time that it hits this level, sorry for repeating myself there, but every time that it does, it pulls back, it pulls back, it pulls back, it pulls back. So when the market's overheated, you come in towards the end of the year, you've got big players, you've got institutions in the market, you've got the biggest institution in the world, which is BlackRock. When you've got all these people in the market that hold in a high allocation of Bitcoin, then at the end of the year, if they needed to realize any of their profits, then that could affect the market significantly. So that's why I'm thinking December potentially could be a month that we need to be cautious for and need to prepare for. But if you do it right, guys, if you prepare right, you can take advantage of the gains, because if it drops and it drops significantly, and there's something in the world that happens which causes a market crash, which causes indecision, a capitulation event like it's happened for the last few cycles, then if you've got enough capital on the table, you can take advantage massively of that. Right, okay, guys, so let me know in the comments what you want me to cover next. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel and join our Discord group. I'll see you in the next one.